What's going on, Sam?
Connor, my man, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Coming off of a Packer performance here. I think we already talked about this, but feeling a little drowsier than usual. Hopefully we can maintain some vigor here, though, in the podcast. I'm hoping we can provide another electric episode for all of our listeners. I heard also, by the way, I was talking to Sam Jors in the car, and she said that on the way on some of his commutes, Matt Breen, our special VIP listener, he listens to the podcast.
Well, hell yeah, Matthew Breen. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, Lieutenant Breen.
We'll have to get all the All-American kid on sometime, and maybe
we're gonna have to send you some swag.
Yeah,
I think I might buy one of those shirts from our Teespring store and send it to him in New York.
So which one, the pecan one, or is there another one?
I think you removed the Wisconsin one because you spelled
podcast wrong.
Yeah, I'll send him the pecan shirt.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just have a story here real quick. So one of my coworkers, she said that she got free tickets to Luke Bryan in the Madison area. And that's why, because I told her, like, oh man, Friday's gonna suck. I'm gonna come into work on like 5 hours of sleep. It's gonna be terrible. She's like, oh, same thing for me. So I'm like, well, why? She's like, I'm gonna go see Luke Bryan. And I'm like, oh, where's Luke Bryan playing? Like, I don't know. I'm not a big country person, but usually I like with big name people, I see it on like Instagram or Facebook or something. So I was like, well, where's he playing? And she's like, oh, he's playing out in a farm field in Sun Prairie. I'm like, what? And I looked it up. Sure enough, Luke Bryan is doing an entire tour of playing at farm fields around the whole country
thing ever.
Yeah. And the most country thing ever is that this show started, it was on a Thursday, and this show started at like 8 o'clock, whatever, normal time for a fucking show. But the farm field opened at 2 p.m.
Oh.
Like, whoa. So yeah, a lot of people showed up to this thing. And
so was it just GA then?
Yeah, it was just, it was kind of like, not really like when we went to Dave Matthews Band. And it was like, The Hill, but kind of similar to that, where it's just like they set up a stage in the middle of this fucking field, and that was that.
Hell yeah. Was it after the harvest?
I hope that
they were just in an actual like cornfield with a bunch of corn growing, right?
That'd be kind of funny. Oh, prime spot. We chopped down some of this corn here to save a spot for the Luke Bryan concert,
and we're gonna start a little bonfire and make popcorn with it with the kernels.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny, just because it was like I'd never heard of that before.
No. But I mean, that kind of stuff like that. I don't know if you would call it guerrilla performances. I don't know, that's probably not the right phrase for that, but doing like, I don't know, just like big name dudes, regardless of genre, is playing in kind of odd locations. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of neat. Like, I guess the thing I'm thinking of is like the Foo Fighters stuff when they would do like secret shows, just in like really obscure locations and they'd under a pseudonym, and people just show up and it's like, oh, psych, it's not some shitty local band, it's the Foo Fighters.
Surprise. Yeah.
And yeah, Foo Fighters in like in an abandoned subway station in New York or something.
Yeah. That was like what Brian was telling us, where he was like, yeah, we got this comedy show where they didn't tell us who it was.
Like in an office building, yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh man, that's kind of weird to like actually take these people up on this and to like pay money to like, we're going to send you this location. And it's like, oh yeah, it's this office building at 9 p.m. Bring alcohol. All right.
That's like, yeah, I mean, the greatest punk video on YouTube is the 2 a.m. at Denny's. So like the football equivalent to this is like, so you got out of, non-traditional performance venues for having concerts there. It's like it's out of position players. Like when you have Don Terry Poe throwing touchdowns on the goal line. Same thing. It's fun.
Oh, that's That's a good comparison. Yeah, it's like in like Madden Mobile when you could play J.J. Watt at tight end.
Yeah, like full time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Rob Gronkowski at safety. Ooh, woof.
That card did not age well.
No.
His ass is getting fucking torched on that Miami Miracle play.
Oh, Kenyon Drake, man.
Yeah, can you believe that Dolphins team only but a year ago beat the Patriots?
I know, it's kind of wild to think about. Like, oh my goodness. I guess you can say that about any of those 0-16 teams, I suppose. Like the Browns or the Lions. Like, oh man, they beat that team. I mean, even during the 0-16 Brown season, they almost beat the Packers. They took them to OT.
Right.
And it's like, oh Jesus Christ, this is.
Well, I mean, I guess that is kind of how the NFL works, where the salary cap era especially, and they give you a lot of opportunities to have quick turnarounds if you have a quarterback, which, well, they did, or they do now.
Yeah.
So,
but anyways, yeah, I guess the first thing I want to talk about before we dive into the Packers game that we were just at and the Badger game that we were at last week, or I guess that I was at. I didn't even go to the game. I just watched it on TV.
Yeah, I was down there with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you were there. Fuck.
Yeah, we were in the same place. We were watching it.
Oh, my goodness.
Feels like a million years ago.
It does. Anyway, talking about some fantasy football here. So this fantasy league is like mind-numbingly, like, oh my god, like
fantasy football sucks.
It does suck, and it's like it really is like I don't know how I want to put this. I think that in the case of our league, so we're running a 10-team PPR league. I think that it's a lot harder for people who maybe pay attention closer to have an edge, because really, like, everybody kind of has good players. So if you drafted well, you're still probably rolling in terms of your performance. However, like, if you drafted and those players either A, got hurt, or B, are underperforming, you're in a much tighter position, because the ability to go out there and correct your mistakes on the waiver wire is, I mean, you're
slim pickings out there.
Yeah. I mean, not a lot of guys out there I guess not a lot of guys out there to like put up against somebody who's got, Keenan Allen and Michael Thomas on their team.
Cordell.
Cordell. You can certainly pick up people and play, like, stream them, but it's really something. I don't know. I guess I don't say this from like an empirical standpoint that this is a much greater case in lower numbered teams leagues, like with less teams in your league, but it does feel like, I guess from right now heading into week 4, the leaderboard here, Alexis is number 3 here, and I know for a fact that she doesn't know anything about football or any of the players, but she's doing really well.
She's doing better than me.
Yeah.
I'm 0-3.
Yeah,
I had a bad
0-3.
draft.
Yeah, and there's only I think that over the course of the season, people who pay attention to what's going on in football will be rewarded, because I think at one point or another, your team, it's only a matter of time before you find a setback, and you have to be able to readjust. You know, for some people, that's in the very beginning of the season. Some people, the middle. Other people, you know, poop their pants in the playoffs. So right now, I guess the status of it is that there's a lot of people who are looking unstoppable right now, but, you know, haven't really done anything with their roster. It's more of, you know, they rolled the dice and got really lucky, I think, is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, and then you got people like you who I think of anybody other than maybe Cheech, you're definitely plugged in more than I am. We got your ear to the ground, but I don't. I've made I think I said this to you last week or so. I've made more moves, I think, in the first couple weeks here of the season on the fantasy waiver wire than I have in entire seasons before. And a lot of it is just back of the roster stuff, trying to find a running back. Or just grabbing receivers that I'm just kind of stashing on my bench, but nothing really meaningful happening.
Yeah. I guess I've been trying to stir the pot in the league a little bit here. I didn't do it so much this week because I don't know. I didn't have my eyes on anybody. But in the last few weeks, I've been sending a lot of trade requests to just about every single person in this league, just to see what happens.
Has anything happened?
Not
you
really.
And I made a trade end of last week.
Yeah, the only trade was that Mecole Hardman, Curtis Samuel one.
Yeah. See, my draft strategy was to try and run the Chiefs super stack, so I got the first leg of that by getting Patrick Mahomes, and then failed to pick up anybody else. So I'm slowly acquiring the entire Chiefs roster with. I didn't get LaShawn McCoy on waivers, but I do have Mecole Hardman, and then was able to pick up another receiver,
Demarcus Robinson.
Yep, him.
Yeah, I thought for sure I was like, Sam, you're an idiot for drafting Pat Mahomes in the second round.
Well,
boy, was I wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, this week I'm excited for this game this week because you have the Chiefs going on the road, playing Detroit. Patrick Mahomes' first time in his career playing inside in a dome.
Yeah.
So that's I like that. That sets up. That makes me feel good about the game.
Oh, it's scary, man, to think that he's been putting up all that stuff with like wind resistance and the
playing on a baseball field.
Yeah, honestly, like there's all these other factors that affect the game, and he's been putting up just monster numbers regardless. And so now you're taking all those things away. And it's going to be pure. What if he's terrible? What if he like way overthrows people?
It's like in college basketball when they play the big tournament games in those giant open air stadiums, and then like all the shooters are terrible because like the depth perception's like way different.
Yeah,
it's something like that where just like it's too calm in there, and he just gets way in his own head about it.
He's just rocketing the ball way too fast, and it's bouncing off all the receivers' hands because it's too fast.
Yeah, well, it's like the thing, the crazy thing people were talking about when he was coming out and saying that since he can throw the ball like 80 yards, it's like, yeah, you know, if it's the end of the game or something, we get a touchback. I mean, I can get it to the end zone, which is just insane. But then like that happens and he throws it and it's like, oh, whoops, I threw it out of the back. Didn't give your receiver a shot. Too far.
Yeah, like
it's like got that. I don't know if you ever when we played Madden, the old Madden games. You had the Madden cards. I think one of them was to boot, where you could like kick the field. You had like unlimited field goal range.
Oh yeah,
you could kick like 100-yard field goals. I think there was a similar one with throw power, where you could just throw the ball for the entire length of the field.
Man, I'd want to see it. I'd like to see it just happen, just to see it happen. Like end of the second quarter, going into half. Yeah, Chiefs are on their own like own 25 maybe. All right, guys,
go deep.
I need you to go fast.
Yeah, see, the only reason that wouldn't work is because it takes too damn long for the receivers to get all the hell down there.
Right.
To go 75 yards down the field.
Listen, Hardman, I just need you to... you need to be speed.
Hey, you don't really need to do anything. Just run as fast as you can, and then I'll put the ball on you perfectly.
Exactly.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
So yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited for that one in the noontime slot on Sunday. Yeah, I don't know. You want to get into the Packer game?
Well,
you got anything else here before we dive into the nitty-gritty analysis?
Well, I guess I'm looking at this I guess I want people to be like more active with the league, and I think that's why I'm trying to send these trades all over the place, because I think it's a little bit more fun. I think it's easier for me maybe to manage, or maybe I guess a better way to put it is it's easier for me to corral people into doing things and put them into positions that I like them in. Like right now, everybody's like, it's kind of like what I was saying before, where I think a lot of people are very content with their rosters, and nobody's really inclined to make any moves right now. But like Eric, Mila, he moved LaShawn McCoy off because he thought he was out, and he moved him for, Darrell Williams. And following that, and the news that LaShawn McCoy was playing again, panicked a little bit. And the week before, this past week, when Mike Evans, before he went off, he was prepared to trade me Mike Evans for Emmanuel Sanders.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That would have been awful for everyone else.
Yeah. And even with his ceiling game, I was talking to him at the gym, and he was like, I don't trust Jameis. Like, I think I need a more reliable guy. And so he said that he's going to see what happens in this game against the Rams, which I'm just going to float it out there that I don't think Mike Evans is going to have as great of a game as he had last week. Just putting it out there.
See, this is also time for him to actually trade him. You got to sell high, man.
I know, for my Emmanuel Sanders.
Oh, well, no, hold on. For Emmanuel Sanders, no, but...
No, but I'm in a prime position for as long as Jalen Ramsey does not play, which it's looking like he won't. I think Emmanuel Sanders is poised for a big game, as long as and I'm pretty sure AJ Boye is still going to play the perimeter with Cortland Sutton, and then Deshaun Hamilton is going to get what's his name, DJ Hayden, and then Emmanuel Sanders is going to get Jalen Ramsey's backup. And so Jags defense is tough, and so I think that Joe Flacco will use Emmanuel Sanders as a safety blanket the same way he did in week 2. In PPR, that's great. So all he needs to do is get targets, which he will, I think. So if Emmanuel Sanders can have a better game than Mike Evans, which he might, I think I'll be able to flip him. So anyway,
that's stealing. Do you still have Jameis, or did you drop him?
Oh, I dropped his ass.
Well, if you get Mike Evans, you got to run that stack.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, him and OJ Howard, man, just rolling the dice every single fucking week. Ah, shit. Maybe this will be good. A lot of volatility there. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I keep looking at trying to like, all right, who do I want to trade with? Who do I want to try and get? Because like I need a running back. That's all I need. I'm pretty okay everywhere else. Quarterback, I'm set. Defense, kicker is good. I'm fine. Yeah, running back, I got Kerryon Johnson and then garbage. So I mean, I keep looking at all these teams like, oh, who could I get? Like, I don't know, and it's like, well, what do I want to give up? Like, I don't want to give up anybody of value.
Well, that's
which is
the
problem.
thing, right?
So yeah, you were talking to you might land here, Mike Evans, and then we were talking a little bit about me maybe trading you Devontae Adams for Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Which pair him with when Tyreek Hill comes back. That's just when you were talking about that. I'm like, I'm not going to trade you just out of spite because fuck that. I don't want to give you all those dudes.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair. I don't know. Yeah, I'm probably a little too transparent with what goes on in the fantasy thing.
Yeah, you tell me, wait, you give me too many nuggets.
But I don't know.
You just played yourself here today. We were just chit-chatting, and you're like, oh, you should pick up TJ Hawkinson. I was like, okay, and I did it. And you're like, oh, well, actually, no, I wanted him.
I wanted him, but because I think he will have a big game, and I wanted him as an insurance policy for in case OJ Howard is terrible again, which he might be. But I couldn't. I was looking at my bench, and it's like I either have to drop Curtis Samuel, Cortland Sutton. I think Emmanuel Sanders is on my bench right now. Or I have those two wideouts, AJ Green and Tyreek Hill, who are both hurt right now, and I'm trying to hang on to. So all those guys, it was kind of like, all you guys are probably more productive than having a backup tight end on my roster. And OJ Howard isn't very good right now, but I don't think it's a very prudent move to try to secure an insurance policy for him in week 4 here. I gotta see how he develops with the Bruce Arians offense, I think, rather than try to get some tier 2 tight end. I think all the good tight ends have been swooped up. Darren Waller was taken, Mark Andrews is taken. Like, those were the 2 guys to take, and I didn't move on them because I was an idiot.
Yeah, the other guy I was looking at, and this is, tying it back to the Packers here. Jimmy Graham got a number of targets last night, and then if Devontae Adams is out, which he may or may not be with turf toe, he's a guy I think I would expect his targets to go up. Well, his targets are probably going to be higher anyway. The way Aaron Rodgers was talking about him after the Denver game last week, but yeah, especially if Devontae is out, I think that would be a prudent move for an insurance policy for tight end. Wouldn't be the worst thing to get Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, I agree. He's looked a lot better this year than he did last year. That's for sure. And
yeah, when he's using 2 hands, yeah.
Yeah, right. It's not a basketball move, Jimmy. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, I guess in fantasy, it's just it's really interesting because there's a wide range of how like people play and the attitudes there. This
Here, put it this way, in terms of attitude and all that, like, man, if I dropped to 0-4 this week, it's we're gonna have to make some changes here. So I'm gonna probably be much more liberal with my trading.
Oh yeah.
If I'm sitting at staring on 0-4. So
yeah, that's kind of I guess kind of how that works. You got to sell some assets if you want to rebuild your roster, which, I don't know, man. I think that you should, I don't know if I want to say this. I think that it's maybe you can't because of the injury news, but after that last game with Devontae Adams, I mean, I'd almost try to sell high on him to try to get some assets.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about that a little bit, but I also kind of, yeah, in terms of targets, that was a career game for him, which is all fine and good. He still doesn't have a touchdown this year, which I don't know. Maybe it's probably dumb to try and just hold out for him to get a touchdown. But you think you got to get one. I want to get at least one out of him.
Right.
It's probably not a good reason, but
it's just there. I was listening to a podcast about guys talking about Davante because obviously drafted as the number one wide receiver usually in most leagues because he was the number one last year, never ever sinking below like 17 points, I think. And with the new offense that Green Bay runs, it's things are looking a little different. He's still targeted by far the most out of any of the receivers. But
especially last night.
Yeah, last night was, I mean, and that was, I think, also a product of the running game was just non-existent. So we fell back into 2018. Where's Davante? There he is. And we can get into that, I guess, when we talk about that. But I think that some people are a little worried that as a result of this new offensive scheme, Davante might not see the kind of action that owners are looking for. Like, there might be a lot more of, all right, well, we're going to give the ball to Jamal Williams as opposed to we're going to throw the ball on a quick slant to Davante Adams or in this out route to Davante Adams.
And it might have been that earlier in the season, but clearly last night that was the main focus. And then with again, the comments that Aaron Rodgers has made after the Denver game where, he had four or five targets in that game and flat out said, that's not enough. Got to do more.
Yeah.
He was saying stuff like that last year where they wanted to get more targets to him and, should have a minimum of like 10 to 15 targets a game.
Yeah.
Which is about what they did last night, and golly, it was effective.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough for me to say because I think he can still be like one of the guys in fantasy this year. I mean, and it's great news that might not even miss a game with his injury that he sustained. I think last game, let's just go ahead and move into fucking Packers.
Before we do that, while we're talking fantasy, I gotta tell you, I was talking to you about DFS yesterday. I'm back on that horse, and I figured out how to play.
Oh, I sent you a contest, by the way.
Oh, you did? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to fill that out in a minute. But I figured out the single game captain superstar team, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That's not what it's called. It's something like that. But where you get the captain and it's all players in the same game.
The showdown.
Yeah, and I won. It was a cash game, but I won it. I came in first. I felt like a fucking card shark. I felt like
high roller.
Felt like that scene in The Hangover where Lone Wolf Man is like seeing all the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I played the Sunday night game. I had Cooper Kupp as my captain, which was kind of a contrarian play. Just picking a dude and just kind of hoping they were going to go off. And voila, he did with 2 touchdowns in that game and a bunch of catches and shit. Went chalk at the bunch of the other flex positions with Bradley Chubb and Robert Woods, and then just saved some money on the back end with both kickers. So yeah, I don't know. I think I cracked the code based on a sample size of 1.
You should do it again and just come in first again.
I thought about doing the Packer game last night, but man, I want to be able to actually be able to sit down and watch it. So
right.
I'll one of these games this weekend. I'll do it.
What's the Sunday night game this week?
Oh gosh, I don't know who it is.
I don't know either.
Is it Dallas, New Orleans?
Is it? I have no idea.
I think it is. I don't want to do that one. I kind of want to do
that one.
Kind of want to do Detroit, Kansas City. That'd be a fun one.
That shootout.
Yeah, that might be fun.
Man, okay. So I was actually reading an argument against. So it was an article that was writing to sit Matt Stafford this week, and that was the opposite of like just about everything else I read this week for fantasy. And it was like oh, like, what? Why? I guess because I mean, most people it was like, well, the Lions are going to get in a shootout to keep up with Patrick Mahomes. Kansas City's pass defense is okay, still allowing a lot of yards, and more importantly, they're allowing a ton of rushing yards and passes out of the backfield. So Kerryon Johnson is supposed to have he's got a good game setup, and Matt Stafford's supposed to. He's going to be slinging the rock to keep up with Patrick Mahomes. And so I think it was on PFF, actually. So they were like, well, okay, so that's what we're hearing from all these quote-unquote analysts. But we can, just about, we can use the same argument for literally anybody that plays the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you look back at these last couple of weeks, certainly that's not the case where a quarterback has to go out there and just ball out. Like Lamar Jackson didn't play superbly well.
Derek Carr did not.
Yeah, that was the other one. Derek Carr certainly didn't play very well.
Well, then it was the Nick Foles, Gardner Minshew. That doesn't really count.
Right. So it was like, well, Matt Stafford kind of played like garbage against the Eagles. I wouldn't really expect him to necessarily ball out per se. He might do fine, but I don't think he's poised for this excellent game. I think they were more than anything, Kerryon Johnson should get a lot of touches and a lot of receptions in the game because that's where Kansas City's the weakest. But maybe Kenny Golladay, maybe Marvin Jones, but not to not expect Matt Stafford to go out there and just be a gunslinger. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, that was kind of tangential. So Packers Eagles, yeah.
Holy shit, that game. We talked about this a little bit last night. Packers, the whole litany of bad things that happened. They were getting their ass kicked. Their offensive line was bad. Their defensive line was bad. They were getting dominated on both sides of the ball at the line of scrimmage. Their -2 turnover margin. They had piss poor red zone offense down the stretch, and they only lost by 7.
Yeah,
all these bad things happened, and they were very much in it, which I don't know. Definitely a reality check, kind of a gut punch, pumped everybody. I was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, thinking, 3-0, they're off to a great start and everything, but that was a reality check last night, and it's still a work in progress, but there's still a lot of good things happening, though.
Yeah, I think reality check is a good way to put this, and I said a similar thing to you last night, was I'm glad that we had this moment happen now. 3-1 is still a pretty decent position to be in here, moving in through the first quarter, I guess, of the season. I'm glad that we had it, and it wasn't a blowout either. It wasn't, we were hanging in there, and there were good things happening and bad things happening. So I think that it's good that those things happen, just because I think that there's a lot of learning opportunities there. In a blowout, it's I don't know who said this, but I guess maybe it's just a mantra, but in a blowout, you can sometimes chalk it up to we were just having a bad night. And then once things really snowballed out of control, everybody's attitude kind of changes once you're getting blown out. So in this game, yeah, it was, really interesting to see the Packers just get exposed in their run defense. But at the same time played almost lockdown secondary coverage. So this was the opposite of kind of what we've been seeing these last couple of seasons. They didn't allow much. Alshon Jeffrey got a touchdown, but besides that, I think he was held to 36 yards or something, and he was their leading receiver.
Yeah, the small sample size I was able to watch, they were getting... whoever Will Redmond was lined up against, I mean, that's where Carson Wentz was going with the ball. They were picking on him, as a good offense should. Find that weak point on that defense and just attack it. Because there was a number of plays, it was like consecutive plays, it felt like at times there, of the little bit I was able to actually get eyes on the game, despite being at the game.
Right.
Where it was like Zach Ertz. It felt like it was mostly Zach Ertz just out there, just running the quick out or just running right past him. What was that one touchdown they had where, I think it was Will Redmond out there, and he just, dude ran up to him and then ran a slants inside of him and
beat him.
He was wide ass open.
Yeah.
Kind of caught him flat-footed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's not good. That wasn't encouraging, but definitely, I mean, we were talking about this going into the season, and it's held true. The strength of the Packers defense is the secondary. And then, the weakness being kind of that middle linebacker or inside backer. And that was absolutely the case. So good on us.
Yeah. I'm not sure who was out. I didn't see. I thought I saw Adrian Amos out there. I guess I didn't see Darnell Savage.
I don't know. I'd have to check. I can have to check the snap counts for everybody. But one injury I didn't realize happened last night. Brian Bulaga went out in the first half.
Oh.
And missed a significant chunk of time, which kind of explains part of the reason why that offensive line was not able to generate any sort of a run game. And it was, when Matt LaFleur said, fuck it, we're throwing it every down. Aaron Rodgers was under constant pressure. I mean, it was pretty fun, some of that stuff last night when, Fletcher Cox is coming up the middle and Aaron Rodgers, like every play, is bailing out, making some pretty awesome plays out of the pocket to extend plays and be able to either scramble for positive yardage or just break contain and do stuff off schedule, which he's one of the best of all time at doing.
Yeah.
It was just unfortunate that was every play the pocket was collapsing in on him.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts. Like you said, after the Packers totally abandoned the run, they ended up throwing for 470 yards, I think was the box score, which I thought was insane. Like 470 yards. I mean, Davante Adams had, like you mentioned, a monster game, 180 yards, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, nearly 200 yards. And all these other receivers got a little piece of the pie, too, especially because once Davante Adams was out, he obviously wasn't an option anymore. So people like Marquez Valdes-Scantling stepped up. Geronimo Allison had a couple of deep bombs there and a touchdown.
Jimmy Graham had a number of targets also with a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I guess to explain why that happened, and this is something that I was kind of speculating too with you earlier. Jamal Williams was knocked out real early in the game off of a hit by Derek Barnett. Came in there, swooped in. I mean, probably should have had some sort of repercussions for that. Knocked him out cold, sent him to the hospital, and after that, I mean, I didn't really, I don't know what was, I guess, happening before that. There really wasn't much, but
it was like that was the first play of the game.
Oh, okay. There was literally nothing before that. There was nothing before that. And so the previous game, though, Jamal Williams was the leading rusher, and whether or not that was intended, it's tough to say, but looking at this game, I think it's very clear that Matt LaFleur had some big plans in mind for Jamal Williams with this game, and once he was completely out of the picture, they only had two running backs actually active for this game, Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. So after Jamal Williams was out, I mean, his game plan was obviously affected by that, and the Eagles could also game plan for Aaron Jones being the only person in the backfield who's going to run the ball probably. So what ended up happening was Aaron Rodgers was actually the leading rusher on the day. Aaron Jones had like 17 yards or something on the day, something paltry like that. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, under something like under 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, just terrible.
Just piss poor.
So I don't know. Like it's certainly not just we were missing Jamal Williams, and as a result, our running game was completely just stagnant. But I think there was something there, and especially on that second to last red zone drive where the Packers were lined up on that 1 yard line and tried unsuccessfully like 4 times in a row to throw the ball.
Yeah,
and it was clear that they didn't trust Aaron Jones on the goal line there,
and must not have trusted Danny Vitale.
That too. That was actually something that I was just talking to Mila about this in the gym. He was like, "Why the fuck didn't they give it to Danny Vitale?" And I was like, "Oh my god, I totally forgot about that guy. What if Matt LaFleur did that too? Oh shit, I totally forgot about Danny."
Yeah, if anything, Danny's even better to be having short yardage. That's fullback. That's 1 yard. That's all you need. Give it to your fucking rocked up superback and just, bro, we're not blocking for you. You just fucking run someone over. And hang onto the ball.
Yeah, man. I hope that they start to use him more effectively in their offense. Honestly, like especially because
there's the one play last week he had, and then I don't know what all he did last night, but
yeah, not
there's
much.
Been glimpses of it.
Yeah, I mean I really want to. I watched I think a highlight video of him back at Northwestern sometime last year, and I mean the way that Northwestern used him, I understand that like their offense is different and it's college football, but man, it was wild to see him run some of those routes and do some of the things out of the backfield that he was doing. I mean, yeah, lining up at tight end sometimes, obviously. Being a fullback, being a halfback, lining up just wherever on the line. It was kind of crazy to watch him take advantage of some of the mismatches that were associated with that, getting lined up with some of those much slower linebackers. It'd be cool to see something come of that, and I don't know what the timetable is for Jamal Williams' injury, but I think that'd be something that I'd like to see if he's expected to miss any sort of extended period of time. I'm not really sure with his injury, but I mean, I'm sure that Dexter Williams will be the guy to kind of assume some more of Jamal Williams' work. But yeah, it'd be cool to see Danny Vitale in the game plan a little bit more. I kind of miss seeing John Kuhn out there.
Yeah. I mean, being on the 1 yard line there, since we're talking about it here, I don't mind them passing on first down or really at all. It's just, you got to run the ball at some point there. It doesn't necessarily have to be first down, doesn't have to be third, doesn't have to be fourth. Just you got to run it. You got to try at least once. So yeah, I mean, it's just piss poor play calling.
Yeah.
On the 1 fucking yard line. You could give it to Danny. You could run a quarterback sneak. Yeah, it's 1 yard.
Right. It was puzzling at best. And on that last drive when they threw the pick, it was, it was gut wrenching just because it felt like with Davante Adams out that, it's tough to not think about it in a what if situation where, what if Davante was in and, we just had him as an option even. Like maybe it wasn't the situation that, we threw the ball there and it was Davante on that rub route that I guess MVS was running there. Would he have been able to box out that guy better? I don't know. Or even if he was just in the game plan, so the Eagles would have had to, because they were missing at that point Avonte Maddox, had to replace him with a sub. Just putting him out on the field, so the Eagles had to just think about having to cover Davante Adams.
Roll coverage his way, do whatever they're going to do, but yeah, somehow ISO, take their whoever would be their top DB out there, take Malcolm Jenkins, put him over there, and then you got a better matchup somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to, revisit that last play and, think about if we could have had him. But I mean,
apparently I didn't see this, but everyone's the big talk was on the pick. He had Aaron went quick on that slant or whatever on the rub route to MVS, but I guess on the replay, if he would have I don't know where Darius Shepard was on the play, but apparently he just got there was a blown coverage and he was wide open. Ugh. So I haven't seen it, but that's what they're talking about. So yeah, I don't know. It's disappointing, and then it is what it is. But yeah, other than that, the offensive line and defensive line getting absolutely dominated was not good. Especially when you have Dallas coming up on the schedule, who has a better offensive line and has a better running back.
Right. And I guess that's why I wasn't quite so upset that we lost the game, because even if we take that game into overtime, man, I'm not confident that we'd be able to squeeze that one out. Just playing any more extended time with all the people that we're missing Davante Adams, Brian Bulaga, I don't know. I don't see that offense. It didn't feel entirely inspiring.
No, yeah, agreed. I don't know that they would have kicked the field goal had they scored the touchdown. Because of that reason, I would have been A-okay with them going for 2 and losing that game that way.
Yeah. I think that would have been the call. I mean, you're right. I think that Matt LaFleur probably would have just tried to end the game there rather than extend it without
Mike McCarthy definitely would have kicked the field goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Matt LaFleur, I don't know, we haven't seen him in this situation yet to make that decision, but that's definitely the trend. I mean, Doug Peterson went for 2 in that third quarter to try to go up 9, which I love. I love that call to try and stretch it, because they were up 7. Yeah, to try to stretch it to a 9-point game, make it a 2-possession game. Glad they didn't get it, but as in terms of game strategy, love it. And he did something similar in the last week or two, so that wasn't really a surprise.
Oh man, did you see the clip of? It's like a meme right now, and that's kind of trending. It was Aaron targeted Darius Shepard in the end zone, and it was broken up by Avonte Maddox actually, and ended up being defensive pass interference. But right after the incomplete pass was thrown, it was kind of the way they fell. Avonte Maddox was kind of facing Darius Shepard, and so he did the DB thing where he wagged his finger at him, and then Darius Shepard very quickly gestured over to the penalty flag that was on the ground and just walked right by him. And
man, I saw that shit happen live, and I was dying. That was hilarious, because he pointed at him with both hands, and then did this really flamboyant whoosh, point the 180 degrees towards the flag.
Yeah, and Maddox is just. It looked like he was just left there staring at the flag, almost jaw open. Yeah, it was pretty funny to watch that clip.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a great game, but like you said, like you just kind of mentioned it, these weaknesses that were exposed leave me a little bit worried for the Dallas game that's coming up next. We have a little bit more time to game plan and prepare for it, which is nice. And I mean, it's nice to have an extended timetable for Davante Adams' injury, because we all know that we certainly need him out there for the game. But yeah, I mean, the weaknesses that were exposed, weak against a strong offensive line who's, the only one better than the Philadelphia Eagles is Dallas.
A team that's absolutely built to be a power run it down your throat team. And I couldn't believe that the Eagles only ran for 100 some odd yards yesterday. It felt like they could have ran. It felt like they could have ran for 300.
I mean, I think if
watching
they had
some of those holes. Yeah, watching some of that and seeing some of those holes that Jordan Howard could roll through. It was like watching the Badger game last weekend. It's watching them just run over Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
kinda.
like if I'm Dallas, like game plan for that game next week, I don't know. I don't see how they don't run for 300 yards.
Honestly, I mean,
Which is absurd.
Right. It's a ton of yards.
Having a mini bye coming off a Thursday night game, that's great. You get a couple extra days to get some rest, get rehab in, whatever. That's great, but I don't I don't know if that's gonna be. You don't just. I don't know how you game plan or scheme for being a better run defense. Well, other than loading the box, and then you're just asking to get beat on the back end.
Burned by fucking Amari Cooper.
I suppose what I was saying before, what we've been saying in the offseason is the strength of this defense is the secondary. So, I mean, maybe that's the play. Maybe you just load the box and then say,
hope that they play well.
Hey, Jair Alexander. Hey, Kevin King. Y'all gotta just be dominant out there. You gotta shut these dudes down on your own.
Yeah, dude.
Normally I would killed.
Yeah. Normally, I think I would be more okay with that call because, like you said, I don't think that there's a whole lot of other options. Like, you don't just get better at beating an offensive lineman. Certainly not like an all-pro talent like the Dallas Cowboys featuring, any number of their offensive linemen plus all-pro Ezekiel Elliott. I don't actually know if he's all-pro, but and I mean, not even mentioning Dak Prescott, like an extremely mobile quarterback. And then, that whole thing that's going on. So, all right, sell out to make sure that we don't get completely killed by that. But, man, Amari Cooper has been fucking balling out this year. He tore apart these couple of top DBs. He got shadow coverage from Xavier Howard and torched him the entire game. And when I saw that, it was like, oh, shit. Like, Xavier's good and played really well last year. And I think he's probably one of the only spots of confidence on that Miami, the entire team. And who else did they play this year so far?
Giants.
All right, yeah, nothing to see there. I'm pulling up their schedule right now. There was another defensive back.
Team. Redskins?
Was the Redskins? All right, maybe not. Maybe it's just Xavier Howard. Redskins aren't very good.
What about Josh Norman?
Man, Josh, I think he's washed up.
Yeah, okay, well, fine. All right, you got Amari Cooper out there. How about you put Kevin King on him and then roll Adrian Amos over the top?
Yeah, maybe. I think.
And then you just play straight man across the board. Jair, you go lock up Michael Gallup or whoever.
Not Michael Gallup.
You put Tremont on Randall Cobb. They know each other.
I totally forgot about that matchup. I guess we'll see what happens with the Saints this week. They got a game plan for this too.
I would just hate to see what we saw this last week, where the Eagles could run at will. Just have the team run down your throat. That's as demoralizing as it gets for playing defense in the NFL.
Yeah,
so
and I mean
just being absolutely dominated up front. So, and unfortunately, I don't think. I mean, Kenny Clark's great. He's probably going to be a Pro Bowl / All-Pro player. And Blake Martinez is a tackling machine, but I think he's kind of undersized. So unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to be turned into Luke Kuechly in a week here. But
no, we
be sure nice if he could just do some casual steroids and not get caught.
Some anabolics here or there. Yeah. I mean,
not likely.
This is definitely a situation where, we're definitely missing some depth here at the inside backer position. Oren Burks, I don't know what the timetable is for his return, but I'm almost positive he's not going to be back for the Cowboys game.
Probably
and
not.
even then, I don't really know because he hasn't played a lot for the team last year, this year. But I don't know. Needs something there. Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, it was kind of weird to just watch them run all over us because it was, not that Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders and Darren Sproles are nobodies. They're certainly all talented in their own right, but I mean, I don't know if they're 176 yards of talent.
No,
I guess so.
Shouldn't be,
because they just did, but yeah, it was certainly unexpected. I didn't expect the Packers to have that big of a problem with them. But, I mean, like you said, they just got beat at the line right at the point of attack. So, I mean, there's...
football. That is football 101 last night. You win the line of scrimmage, you win the game. And they did. So, I was going to say this, too. It felt like the Packers' offense that second half when they were just throwing the ball every down. There a couple of those... a couple of Steelers games over the years when Big Ben, they've kind of basically done the same thing and he's thrown for 500 yards and lose.
Yeah.
They've had a couple of those over the years, and that's just kind of what it felt like. That, and then, the big controversy out of last night's game was, what the fuck is this pass interference rule?
Oh my God. What an absolutely maddening couple of episodes of that. Like... just hitting the replay button and watching it in slow motion and just blatantly I mean, we talked about this already at the game, and I'm sure those of you who watched the game, you saw it too. I mean, there was a situation with MVS and I don't know who's covering him, Avonte Maddox maybe. And I just keep mentioning this guy. He's the only fucking dude I know besides Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah, well, also the guy who he got like broke his neck last night.
Blown up by his own fucking dude.
So, which sucks.
Yeah.
2 guys on stretchers last night. That's not good.
No, that was terrible.
So,
anyway, pretty clear defensive pass interference on that call and against MVS, and they didn't reverse that. And then there was another one. That one was a little bit more, I mean, they literally used the word egregious in the broadcast, and I agree that was a little bit more of an obvious case of, I don't know, this call was probably missed. The second...
Yeah, that's the best of... Oh, yeah, that was that first one. That was the best pass interference challenge that I've seen. I don't know. I'm sure there's been a handful that have been overturned across the league, but of the games I've watched and seen, is like that was the best. That was the most review-worthy one.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, absolutely. And the fact that they didn't reverse it, it was kind of like, well, all right. But then, I mean, I think the more surprising thing was that later on in the game, we were watching there in the fourth quarter, and there was it was a pass to Alshon Jeffrey, and Kevin King seemed to break it up. And then upon review and playing it in slow motion, I don't know if I'm remembering this right, but I think he pushed his arm inside and thereby...
he made contact with his left arm before the ball got there.
Yeah, and, it was pretty clear that it was defensive pass interference. Like, he clearly interfered with his ability to catch the ball because he literally pushed his hand out of the way when he was... he couldn't extend it to actually get the ball. And so we watched this happen, and, I mean, I remember looking at you, and it was like, they're going to definitely call that one. And then, they came back out, and they were like, nope. So...
in both cases, they came back and said the call stands. There's no flag, which... Yeah, okay, the first one was more egregious than the second, but they're both... I mean, when you slow it down, you look at it... Yeah, I mean, I can understand why they missed it live on the field, but with replay, it's like, come on.
Right. When you're looking at when you're looking at it under a microscope like that, it's kind of like, I don't know necessarily what the precise criteria are, but this certainly seems like it fits the bill of the name. You're interfering with the pass.
Yeah. Like, we got real way too precise with what a catch was a couple years back, and that kind of has been less of a focal point here the last year or so. Where this is, it's like when we're not putting not nearly the same amount of scrutiny under this, which doesn't seem consistent.
Yeah, super frustrating. I mean, just because it's
so here
you go.
Well, and Matt LaFleur said after the game he doesn't really understand what pass interference is anymore. There was the one he challenged week 1 against the Bears. I was like, I don't know, don't challenge that. Don't waste your time out on that. But I mean, yeah, if I were an NFL coach, don't bother challenging these plays anymore. Except if it's like on a 4th down or it's an end of game, end of half thing where you really have nothing to lose.
Right.
It's not worth it.
It's the part of my take extended timeout.
Yeah, which I don't buy that at all.
No.
So you're pulling up just for I wanted to look this up. So from operations.nfl.com, pass interference, it is pass interference by either team when any act by a player more than 1 yard beyond the line of scrimmage significantly hinders an eligible player's opportunity to catch the ball. Pass interference can only occur when a forward pass is thrown from behind the line of scrimmage, regardless of whether pass is legal, illegal, whether across the line. Offensive pass interference applies from the time the ball is snapped till the time the ball is touched. So, by the letter of the law, I think those were both penalties.
Yeah.
The only good thing, about the way that went last night was they were consistent, I guess. Consistently bad, but wrong.
Yeah. Right.
That would have been just the absolute worst if because then we have to deal with the whole thing if the Packers one stays the way it was and they did overturn the one against Packers defense. That would have just been I don't know if I would have been able to handle how everybody coming out of the woodwork. Oh, Packers are getting hosed. I don't care. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So. I'm in favor of scrapping the rule. I don't like the rule anymore. Don't need to challenge it. Get rid of the rule.
I guess it's just tough to deal with some of this nonsense when last year we were dealing with the roughing the passer stuff. And I don't want to sound like it's like, oh, well, the Packers are the only team that have it bad, because it's not really the case.
Certainly not.
I mean, you can look at any team, I guess, and have this happen.
It just feels that way because we pay the most attention to this
right
team.
It's just, I think it's just shitty because if this happens on any sort of consistent basis, it's just like, well, this is dumb. Like, I think there was a roughing the passer as Clay Matthews thing with, I don't remember, maybe it was the Bears. It might have been the Bears. I don't remember. Something happened last week where it was a similar thing where they called it roughing the passer because they hit the quarterback in the upper back, and that was close enough. So it was roughing the passer, and it was the Bears because it was Bradley Chubb. It was against the Bears, and that was what allowed them to get in position for their game-winning field goal. It wasn't last week. It might have been the week before.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks ago.
That's what it was, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so, that's just, especially in that situation, you feel for the team because it's like, well, it's a game-winning drive, and, it's tough to play the the conditional game. If that doesn't happen, then do they lose the game, or, does the same shit happen, or blah, blah, blah. But, it's disappointing when you get put in situations like that because it's like, well, that was a dumb thing that happened that nobody really could have predicted, that the referee just decided to whip this out of their back pocket, and I'm going to make this call, and might be the wrong call, but it's a part of the game nonetheless, just having human referees.
Right, so, and part of that rule part of the replay rule for the pass interference thing is trying to take some of that away or can make it better, and reduce some of those game-changing plays that are incorrect, which I guess isn't happening. So
yeah, right. Like, what if that what if that Saints Rams thing happened and then the refs just didn't reverse it?
Well, honestly, that's like, yeah, that's not like, wouldn't seem totally crazy that they would have came back and said, yeah, I don't know, ruling on the field stands.
Right, fucking New Orleans burns the place down.
Yeah. So, whatever. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's not why the Packers lost, but it is a unfortunate thing that's going on in the larger macro sense.
Right. I mean, it's certainly a lot easier to complain about it when the Packers lose. But yeah, by no means is it like a central reason for why they lost.
No, and that's the same reason why you can look at that play calling on the goal line. Well, if any one of those 6 passes that they threw that were incomplete inside the 5 there, if they hit on any of those, it's like, well, it's not a big deal then. What plays they're calling?
Right? No, not at all.
Sure, yeah. I mean, if you hit that fourth down one on that first possession, if you score a touchdown on that, I mean, you could probably still say like, well, why are you on 4th down and goal on the one? You didn't even run the ball. It's kind of more of an afterthought instead of what in tarnation are you doing out there? Which is what it was, but
right. Yeah. So anyway, I mean that was pretty much Packers Eagles. I think we've just about covered everything there. And upcoming game against the Cowboys. I don't know, not a whole lot else to discuss there. I'm excited.
Nope. Yeah, 3-1 through a quarter of their schedule is a pretty darn good start. Better than I thought they'd be. So that's
great. No doubt. I mean, it's important to remember that. I mean, teams normally don't just have overwhelming success with a brand new head coach in their first year. So I think it's important that we had a loss like this to temper some of our, like you were saying, I was also on the hype train, man, because I was like, oh shit, we're gonna just steamroll this Eagles team that just lost to Detroit for sure. Just feeling a little invincible, and then yeah, it's good to come back down and realize the situation a little bit, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know. We got Badgers Wolverines on here. I really don't have a lot to talk about with this. Like, we just steamrolled the Wolverines, and the Badgers are looking.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. The Badgers are looking real good. And man, I was reading a thing in PFF actually that they had the Badgers as the number 1 defense of week 4 for college football. Can you believe that?
Yep.
Number 1 defense.
Sure, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't
disagree.
I don't mean to say like, can you believe that? They're fucking wrong. But like, it was more like there's a ton of like, I mean, when you compare it to schools like Alabama and like Clemson, and you see all these kids get taken in the draft from these schools, and it's like, oh shit, like Badgers have a squad this year. Yeah, I don't know. I think more it made me really excited. I mean, they played at an elite level last Saturday, but to see that they were ranked so highly from PFF, is kind of cool to see.
Well, that's definitely more meaningful than them just moving up to number 8 in the polls. That's not as. Now that is what it is, but yeah, putting PFF, who's definitely looking at more of it in a much larger context. Much more objectively and all that good shit that we do over there. That's reassuring. That makes me feel better. We got Northwestern coming in this weekend. I don't know. They're not very good, I guess. They're sitting at 2-1, but no, 1-2. They're 1-2. They beat UNLV, lost Stanford, lost to Michigan State. So
woof.
Not worried If this was in Evanston, I would be a little more worried.
It's
but
perennially a fucking trap game in Evanston, no matter how good the Badgers are. Yeah, if you're right. If we were playing at Northwestern and we're rolling in there number 8 in the AP poll, number 1 defense, I'd be shitting my pants. Like,
oh, I wouldn't be shitting my pants, but I'd be I don't know. I'd just be like, all right, let's just get off to a good start and get the fuck out of here.
I have terrible flashbacks to last year. I know last year is not this year, and that's not a good, like, you shouldn't ever use past years to evaluate the current situation because it's a much different team.
Especially in college football.
Yeah. But man, last year, the Northwestern game, holy dog shit, Batman. That game was one of the more painful games I've sat through. I don't even know. What happened was I sat through it almost all the way, and then I got to like the fourth quarter, and I left my house and went to the fucking grocery store with like Fahey or something. Like, we were like, holy fuck, this is just so stupid. And we just turned off the TV and went grocery shopping, like at the beginning of the fourth quarter or something.
That is, I think, that's probably the worst thing being a football fan, is when you get a game like that where you just say, fuck it, I'm done. I'm doing something else.
Yeah.
I'm turning this fucking game off. It happened a couple times last year with the Packers down the stretch, where it was, holy shit, turn this garbage off.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely.
Badgers a little bit, too, but... and to be fair, with that Northwestern game last year, I mean, Northwestern was good last year.
Yeah. They weren't a bad team. Yeah, I don't mean to say, like, it was terrible because we just played, like, absolute garbage against an absolute trash team. It was just, you know... I think that was one of the Jack Cohn first games or something.
And good Lord, Jack Cohn was awful last year. And now this year he's good, which I am... I'd be lying if I said I thought Jack Cohn was going to be at all, you know, as good as he's been this far into the season.
Man, somebody on Reddit pointed this out, but it was... somebody said that it was somewhat ironic that the Badgers were running a similar style of offense that Jim Harbaugh's been trying to implement at Michigan, and just steamrolled them with it, and then planted all these rumors in everybody's head of, like, you know, is this the end of Jim Harbaugh at Michigan? Like,
yeah, man, the PMT guys were talking about that. Like, man, Jim Harbaugh's looking across at Paul Chryst like, man, you this is what I wanted it to be. This is what I was trying to do. Is this is the offense I want? You know, Paul Chryst, I see your khakis and I raise you one crew neck sweater.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually though, but like, it's not entirely off of, you know, far off from reality. Like, it's kind of what he wanted to do with Shea Patterson, and clearly that's not, you know, oh my goodness, like, it was brutal to watch Shea Patterson just get his body positively mangled in that game, took him out of the game, and then had to go back in the game for more.
Oh, that's right. Dylan McCaffrey was the one who got targeted.
Yeah. So it was like, watching him get killed out there, and then
that was pretty bad.
That was terrible. I mean,
fucking hit.
It was, man.
That was absolute.
At the fucking Packer game, Ben was, you know, doing his Ben thing and was like, that's not targeting, and it was like, I don't know, man. Like, what is then? Like, he was going down already. He was trying to hit him in the chest, but he was already going down, and there was no time for him to readjust his, like, quote unquote flight path. And it was like, listen, man, he clearly led, like, with the crown of his head and just
and launched his ass.
Yeah,
right
he was
into
a
his
fucking
head.
human missile. Like, you're telling me, like, oh, how do they even know? It's like, well, I mean, look at him. Like, yeah, he literally just was like a torpedo, launched himself at the guy, and, you know, obviously gave him a good donk on the head with his shoulder pad. So I don't know.
Yeah, you can you can make an argument for the first one, that first targeting call when the quarterback got caught, like, I don't know, it was like halfway between a slide and a dive, and it was late, and I don't know, but yeah, sure, that is what the rule is, but sure, you can make that argument there. The second one, no. That was awful. That was targeting. That was bad. Get your ass out of here. See you in the third quarter next week.
So, like, is it unfortunate that we lost our starting safeties? Yeah, but, like, yeah, that was, like, one of the more prototypical examples of, like, this is why this call exists. There was very little room for error in that call. I don't know. So
that's one where you could have just looked at that and said, yeah, no, we don't even need to review it. Yeah, it's targeting. Get your ass out of here.
You're gone for this half and the first half the next game, man. Like,
thank you for your service.
Yeah. Goodbye. So anyway, yeah, that happened. But yeah, watching McCaffrey get destroyed and then Shea Patterson having to jog back out onto the field after he was taken out for taking too many hits. It was like, oh my goodness, like, I feel so happy that we're just steamrolling you, but I also feel bad for what you're going to feel in like 2 hours. Like, your body will just not be in a very great place.
Yeah, you were warm, and now you're cold again. Now you're getting thrown back out there.
Yeah, right, exactly. He cooled off, probably started to feel a little bit more of that, the pain kicking in from all these fucking dudes just laying him out all day, and then, oh shit, the adrenaline's worn off a little bit. I have to go back out there, and I have to get absolutely destroyed at least a couple more times.
Yeah. I mean, credit to Michigan, they did score twice in the second half, so first time that anyone scored the whole season on the Badgers, which is cool and good, but yeah, man. So I know we were just talking about getting knocked down a peg after that Packers loss, and after we've been kind of drinking the good juice and buying into the hype quite a bit. Yeah, I'm all in on this Badger team right now. Looking at this schedule, so you got Northwestern, easy win tomorrow. Kent State, who fucking cares? Michigan State's got no offense. That's a home game. At Illinois, they're garbage. Then you had the big one at Ohio State end of October. Then you get 4 straight.
I was just gonna say that's the one. Like, it's you have to win it in order to make a bid.
See, I was talking to one of my coworkers at work today. I don't think you do need to win that game.
You don't think so?
If you run the table otherwise and lose to Ohio State, you know who you end up playing in the Big Ten title game? Ohio State, in all likelihood. And then you beat them there, and then you're one loss Big Ten champ. You avenged your one loss to a very good team. If they run the table and they only lose to Ohio State, and Ohio State shows up undefeated in Indianapolis, that's a play-in game.
Okay, yeah,
that's a playoff play-in game. I don't think there's any question about it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Sure, you can make an argument that the non-conference schedule is weak. It is, but I don't know. I don't see how you leave out a one-loss Big Ten champ that has beaten Ohio State.
What if Ohio State loses to Purdue?
Oh, yeah, that muddies the water. No, actually, don't they play at Iowa or something this year? A night game there?
Oh, maybe.
That was a couple
I don't
years
know.
ago.
I have no idea what Ohio State's schedule is.
Yeah, it's going to be the annual Ohio State night game, Big Ten West road game that they lose embarrassingly.
Yeah.
Like, if they at Northwestern. Yeah, at Northwestern. That's a night game.
Look out.
Coming up in October 18th. And also they get Nebraska tomorrow night in Nebraska. So one of those two games, those are your typical Ohio State trap games.
Nebraska.
Or if they go to fucking Rutgers and lose.
Oh man.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, certainly not with Rutgers, funding the buyout with their alcohol sales. I don't think they're in a position to
They have no chance. Yeah, the only team that has a chance in the East right now, I mean, Michigan, I think, is done. I have this Penn State Maryland game that's on right now on in the background, and Penn State's good. They're up 45-0. So they're laying the wood down against Maryland. So that'll be a good game towards the end of the season. You get Ohio State, Penn State, but
fire James Franklin.
Yeah. So I don't think the Badgers need to win that game at Ohio State, but boy, it'd be cool if they did.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, the momentum would carry into, through the rest of the season, obviously, but then into that Big Ten championship game that we've gone into the last couple of times and been kind of,
yeah, things have been shaky down there. Since they switched from leaders and legends to West and East.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I agree. I have a ton of optimism surrounding this team. I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow, just because it's nice to see some more data points here on this hype chart. But I mean, I don't know. There's stuff that we haven't seen in years with this program. With Joel Stave and Alex Hornibrook, I mean, there have been flashes from both of those guys when they had like pretty good games. And there's certainly been talent on the depth chart at the receiver position, but I mean, this year it's a sight for sore eyes, that's for sure. These last couple of seasons.
The receiver core this year the receiver core is deep. I mean, the running game, offensive line's great. Running game's great. That's nothing new. That's Wisconsin football. But the receiver core is as deep as it's been. I don't know, ever. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, Quintez Cephas I think it might be an NFL player. Not a first round pick or anything, but like, I think he's a dude that might be able to be an NFL dude. And then Danny Davis, AJ Taylor. I mean, you got some nice guys out there, nice pieces. So really the big question, I thought for sure Graham Mertz was just going to be the quarterback. I thought coming in. I have been very, very pleasantly surprised with the progression in the offseason made by Jack Cohn and how well he's played.
Yeah, he has balled out.
Nice balls.
And his connection with Quintez Cephas is, it's excellent. It's fantastic. I mean, to have a real deep threat in the Wisconsin passing offense has been something that, certainly something we did not have last year. And even the year before, I really don't even remember there being like a guy where it was like, oh, yeah, he's going to, I think he's going to burn a couple of people these games. Like there was, some hype around Danny Davis being a shifty, fast guy, but
he was fine.
Well, that was a number of years ago.
Really good, but not. Yeah, that was a while back. I don't know. The last guy that was really a big deep threat was Ted Cephas 2 or 3 years ago. And that was, he was a little younger. I don't know if he was, I think, as well respected as he is now. Being a little older and flexing on him out there a little bit, balling out.
So we'll see, but I'm excited. You got anything else here?
No, that's about it. We've been off for a few weeks here. It's kind of busy this time of year, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I guess we've been off for a couple of weeks, but largely, like you said, Tundra Line and fucking Badger game shit.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be the same deal next week. We're not gonna.
Oh, maybe not.
One of these, huh?
Yeah, maybe. We'll probably. I'll see my schedule here. We can try to do one during the week.
Yeah, Yeah, we'll just have our show meeting. We'll do our show meeting right now.
We'll talk some logistics here. All right.
We'll peek behind the curtains for all you listeners.
All right, everybody.
Out there.
I think that's where we'll end it here. Obviously, check out the Facebook, Instagram, social media handles, Teespring, Patreon, Twitter, everything. Check it all out. Do it again. Subscribe. Leave a comment. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Now drop it to the grind. Now drop it to the grind. Now drop it to the grind. Now drop it to the millionaire, I'm a young money millionaire, tougher than Nigerian hair.